What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wine of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Enterprise D from Fanhome. And as we pass the 50% mark, look what we get to start working on. This is a very familiar shape. I've been really looking forward to building a kind of new section of the ship, as we're still working on the saucer, and we've been working on the saucer for a long time. Obviously, the saucer is a very large portion of the ship, and we're not going to be finished with the bottom until the very end, which is also really cool to think that we're working on the bottom and it's only finished at the very end. So as I pontificate, getting the lower half of the engineering section, this is a very distinctive piece, and I got to be honest, getting here right now is pretty freaking cool. Like, this is awesome. I am just stoked to be here, and I'm also stoked that I don't have to deal with any windows today. So as we move on, we're going to be doing stages 61 and 62 today, and continuing work, we're going to be installing one of our iconic pieces here in 10 forward, and showing how the saucer section is basically cinched up at the front, and how you're going to see the panels kind of get pulled down into each other. And we're going to be running one of our formation lights into there, and we're going to have to kind of talk a little bit about that as we as I've realized something just now. So let's go ahead and get on to stage 61, and let's go ahead and bring out our saucer section and do a little bit of work today on one of my favorite things that I get to do. All right, so let's go ahead and get our parts out here. And we have our next and final PCB, actually, my friends, which is very cool. And we're going to be doing a little bit of work on it today, but I will show that to you in the coming episodes as we start to discuss some of our power mods and some of the things that we're going to be doing to this model, because in order for it to work the way I wanted to, I thought at the beginning that I wasn't going to make it complicated, but in the end, that turns out to be a lie that I told myself. So I'm going to make this more complicated, but I think the results are going to be there for the quality of the build that I'm hoping to get here. So let's go ahead and get all of our parts out, carefully drop out our PCB, and make sure that all that's taken care of. We're going to go ahead and throw away our package. All right, so we have some of our DM screws. Let's go ahead and get our screws open as we come across them. Oh my god, I almost stabbed myself. Thankfully, this thing is a little dull now at this point. With no point. Oh man, that was a little reckless there. And some of our FM screws. Excellent. There we go. I already have my 3-in-1 oil ready to go, set off to the side, and my pH 0. All right, so here we have, you can see this little clear part. This is going to be, as you can see on either side, there's a raised ridge piece, a little dot, so to say, the top and the bottom. Those are for the formation, or not the formation lights, but the nav lights, that the clear ones that go at the furthest and the furthest fore and aft, and then the tallest and lowest on the ship as well. So we'll be talking about that here in a few minutes. We have our first section of the piece that basically closes up the saucer section, and right up here, right up front, is going to be 10 forward. So either side of this, it doesn't really matter, but for the sake of this, along the top ridge here, these 3 window sets, that is 10 forward. This is deck 11 right here, and then right in between is our sensor band. Those are where the sensors are all located. But yeah, this is 10 forward right here. There has been thoughts about trying to light these up. They were not lit up on the studio model for a reason. This is a very tiny piece. Todd attempted to do so, as I'm going to be following along at myenterprised.com here. He attempted to do so, and it did not work out. So it is not something that I'm going to be attempting to do so. If you guys have managed to figure out how to light the 10 forward windows on your model, please send me a picture at Jordan at atsmodels.com. We'll go to throw that up there as well. Go ahead and send me a picture of that, because I'm super curious to see how it would turn out. But there is our 10 forward piece. We have 2 of our covers here, and these are going to be what's going to be holding all of our escape pods in place, in addition to the tape that we're going to be using. We have quite a few escape pods We're going to be installing 12 of them, as this entire panel is nothing but escape pods. We do have our panel, which is one of our die-cast panels. Let's go ahead and pop that out here. We'll set this off to the side. Great for CA. And that's what that looks like. You can pick up the slight Aztecing there. It's been a nice sunny day, so you guys can see the definition of colors there. It's really nice. It does have a bit of a, I guess, prismatic color. Like, it seems like it kind of shifts color a little bit as you move the light around it, which is really cool. And then this is 310. So this is going to be row 3, the bottom row. And this is just going to be nothing but escape pods. So first things first, before we talk about this, well, first things first, before we move on, here is our engineering section PCB and our final PCB. And the mod that I'm going to be doing today, which will be off camera, we'll be talking about here in the coming episodes, probably after next week's nacelle mod episode, because I just want to get that done. We will be talking about the no blink mod, which is what I'm going to be doing here today, and that's going to be just simply bridging. There is 2. We're going to bridge that far solder point to the top solder point right here. Just going to grab a small piece of wire, and I'm just going to solder them together. I'm going to do that off camera, but then I will show you guys what that looks like in the power mod and Arduino, and we're going to be talking a lot about how I'm going to make this model much more complicated for myself. So here is our PCB. We will be installing this today, but only after I will, once again, like I said, record a segment for the no blink mod for the episode here in the coming weeks. So let's go ahead and get on to cutting out all of our escape pods, and we are going to need 12 of them, and we are provided with 15, it looks like. So we're going to go ahead and just start removing them real quick. I'm going to go ahead and cut these off and get them cleaned up, and I will be right back. All right, so those are all separated real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and put these in here with all the other escape pods that I have. There's quite a few. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning these up, and when I get these cleaned up, what I'm going to do is, you see on either end of the escape pod, and if you're building this model, you're familiar with it, but on either end of this escape pod, there are 2 little tabs right down there, in addition to the gate that I need to clean up. I'm going to remove those 2 little tabs in addition to the gate, as I want everything to sit down in there super flush. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and I will be right back. All right. So I've kind of forgot how tedious this can be a little bit, but it's important if you want your model to look good. So I'll go ahead and show you what I do. As with each one of those little tabs there, what I like to do is just kind of take my hobby knife, quickly cut off that end. Just being careful, not like trying to go too crazy with it. Just cut off the nub. It's not much plastic there. And then with my eraser file, my glass file, or whatever file you want to use, I like to use the glass files. I take it and sand it down flat on either side. Perfect. All right, so all 12 of those are done. Let's go ahead and get our single-bladed nippers off to the side, as I have stabbed myself with those a couple of times, and that's the last thing we want to do. All right, so what we're going to do is very carefully slot these in, and just as a reminder, this is towards the edge of the saucer. The red tab on the escape pod is always going to face down. So in this case, we're going to make sure it's still facing down like that. And we're going to go ahead and slot each one of these into place. All right, that last one's put in place. Let's go ahead and take a look to make sure I got it right. I did. Good for you, Jordan. All right, so now I'm going to carefully set this down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my aluminum tape. And I am going to get two pieces that are roughly, oh, yay big. So about that big. Somewhere in there. A little bit bigger, just for coverage. And the reason I'm going to be using aluminum tape here is I want to completely eliminate any chance of light leakage coming through here. So let's separate the tape from its back. And I'm going to very carefully set this across the top, just like so, slightly overlapping the other one, making sure they're pushed down into place, just like so. And then I'm going to punch out the little holes for the phaser strip. Okay. Very good. Let's do the same thing for the other side. And this one I'm going to cut down. I don't want as much overlap. So I'm going to cut this one down. I will rarely use the aluminum tape, but in this case I really do want to use it here. And it's actually not for the phaser strip. It's for the two little things here that need to go put in place. Let's punch those holes out. Right over the top. Just like so. Making sure to block in all of the possible light leaking. Excellent. And holds them down into place. Obviously, that's what those panels are there for. But just for the sake of... punch that. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So those are all ready to roll. Let us now go ahead and grab. Right's going to go here. Just like so. Fit over the top of those posts. And this one here. Excellent. And then these are going to go into place with 4 DM screws. And I am going to, as a reminder, go ahead and remind you to put this into 3-in-1 oil. Oop. As it will help guide the screws down into place. As this model is not pre-threaded. Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and flip over the panel and see what it looks like. There we go. Very cool. That looks really, really good. Okay. So now let's go ahead and get all of our sharp things out of the way here. All right. There we go. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to fire up my sonic saber. And in order to help kind of guide the LEDs through, there's a very tiny little space right here. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut open the space just past that second hole in between the two. So to do so, I'm going to grab my sonic saber and very carefully start a score line. I'm going to score a line without activating it at the point where I want to go. So I want to go about here. And want to run up to the edge here. I like to score myself a line first because this thing can be really aggressive. So we're going to cut out a little box. Just like so. So now, what I'm going to do, activate the sonic saber. Straight down and in. Straight down and in. Then, just like that. Then come around from the other side. There we go. There we go. And flip that back around. And should be able to pop that piece out. being gentle with the sonic saber is a little challenging, so just do be careful if you're going to use one of these for this application. You could also use a screwdriver or a hobby knife for this as well. I just happen to have a sonic saber. Thank you, Ken. Just do be careful. This stuff will cut through basically anything. There we go. As I hold it in my hand like a goon. Okay. Let me clean up the edges here just a little bit. Excellent. Okay. And there is our nice little box cut right into there. Let's go ahead and turn off our sonic saber and get it off to the side. Excellent. As I knock everything over. All right. So now I am excited because we're going to go ahead and turn this over and get this put into place just like so. Okay. And you want to make sure that when we're getting it put into place that, I see, there's going to be one piece that slots in over the edge, with 10 forward being on top, obviously right here in the center. But there is a longer section with a cup on the inside there. You want to make sure that that one is actually, is that underneath? Yes. So perfect. So you want to make sure, I have to like look at the instructions there for a second just to make sure that it slots in with the cup part towards the bottom. Okay. Glad I really looked at those instructions. And then we're going to go ahead and secure this in place with 3 DM screws. All right. Interesting. All right, so there we are, just like so. There is a bit of a gap around the edge there, so we'll see. I don't like that so much. Todd, if you're watching this, let me know. Should there be a gap around the edge? Okay, I don't want to mess with it too much. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need to grab our saucer section. Always exciting when we get to do that. Get it out of the box here. And it's kind of, I don't know where to grab it from ever anymore. All right, here we are. And it's just a quick reminder. That's what the top looks like. So damn cool, guys. Oh, I love looking at this thing. Okay, so now I'm going to flop this over here. Don't think I need my eraser file anymore. Let's get that put away and the drawer shut. All right. So I'll work with you where you guys can see as well. What we're going to do is we're going to grab the formation light. It's actually the nav light. Sure. That's, you guys want to call it that? Go ahead. All right. That's all right there. There we go. All right. Just making sure everything's all ready to go. Oh, I see. So what we need to do is we are going to next insert the LED. No, I see. So in this little nav light, it'll be hard to pick up, but inside there's a triangle. It's going to be hard to pick that up. There's a triangular shape in there. It's going to fit the LED. And it's recommended that we use a little bit of PVA glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do so real fast. And just PVA, if you guys aren't aware, it's just Elmer school glue. So I have a little bit of thinned down PVA glue here. So into that slot, just a little bit of PVA, just to hold it in place. Make sure it stays there over the long term. Excellent. Okay. So So that LED is slotted into place. I see. So what we're going to need to do now is flip the saucer right side up. Very cool. Oh, God. This thing is ungainly. We're going to clip it into place. How are we doing this? Oh, no. Don't come out of there. Don't come out of there. Just stay in place. And what we're going to do, don't leave myself much room here. We're just going to clip that formation light, or as they're calling it, the nav light, into its spot. Oof. I'm going to try to do this flipped over from the other side. Ah, my power mod is hooked up. There we go. So I'm going to attempt. I see why it's going to be easier from the other side, but I was having a difficult time with it. Okay, after a considerable amount of fighting, I can't even contemplate showing you guys what I did. After a considerable amount of fighting, I finally got it in its place. This was an absolute pain in the butt to get done. No, don't let the screws be the thing that holds me back from this. This was an absolute pain. Wow. Getting it to grab around the front of the saucer section, around the front there. Oh my God. Huh. Wow. Getting that LED into place. Wow. That gap. Wow. We're going to need to do something about that. Okay. Am I still gripped around the front of the saucer? I am. Okay. I see where some of the problems that people have with this model is. Okay. We're going to tighten this down. Oof. Take a look at the top of the saucer, make sure everything's all lined up. Gripped around the front. There we go. Okay. So as you can see there, 10 forward is installed. It's gripped around the front of the saucer there. There's a little lip right here that it's going to grab onto. And then the formation or the nav light is all put into place properly. That's clipped in. I'm going to finish tightening this down. I imagine that this will get easier as we go along. But my goodness, was that a pain in the butt. Wow. My goodness. Okay, so after a lot of recording time, but not a whole lot of build time, that's the end of stage 61. Let's go ahead and move on to stage 62 with something that I hope is a little bit easier to build. All right, here is stage 62. Let's go ahead and get it opened. Probably time to replace this blade. All right, we have some more FM screws. A loose bracket. That's supposed to be loose like that. Huh. Interesting. All right. Some AM screws, some BM screws, and the lower part of our engineering section. Let's go ahead and pop this out. And this is where the main rod for the connection point comes in. They're all, okay, there's, very interesting. Where are they? They're all interesting. We're supposed to have, oh, they gave us 4, but for whatever reason, so there's little LED brackets here, which are going to be introducing a new form of putting our LEDs in place. Yeah, they gave us 2 there and then 2 up with the other wires. So up here, you have a bunch of LEDs. Let's go ahead and get these out. Including a power wire that's going to be going into N1 and out, or N1 on PCB1. All right, so some of our supports, everything is out of there. Excellent. Put our little brackets in place there. A couple of support rods for this. We're going to set these off to the side along with our PCB LEDs. And let's go ahead and get out. We're done with the DM screws, so we'll set that off to the side. Yeah, let's grab another cup. Get out more of our FM screws. There we go there. Grab some of our AM screws. And some of our BM screws. Excellent. All right. So now the instructions have us grabbing our saucer section back again. That really was a struggle in the last stage getting that done. Okay, so in PCB1, up here in the corner, there's going to be the slot called N1. And we are going to go ahead and grab the dual-ended JST here. We're going to plug that in, making sure to pay attention to our polarization. And with this, when we're going down inside, I like to use a pair of tweezers for it. All right, so now what we're going to do, get that underneath here. And under PCB2, we're just going to kind of run it through and under. And we want it to come around. We'll go around the edge here under PCB1. And to PCB2. And what we want to do is have this wire coming up and through the center, just like that. What that wire is going to do, I am not quite sure. We will find out at a later stage. So there we go. That one's just kind of there. We're good to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab all of our LEDs. And these are the 2-pin LEDs. 2-pin JSTs. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our LED itself and have it so that all four look just like that. Okay. So to do so, all I'm going to do is grab the LED, pull from either side, make sure everything's sitting, be careful, of course, and just make sure that everything is nice and even, just like that. There we go. And one more time. And there we go. Perfect. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to go into PCB2, which is going to be this one right here, the middle one. Let's go ahead and turn the model a little bit. There are a series of 2-pin marked B along the front row right underneath the transporter emitters here. So we're going to go ahead into the first available pin marked B, because I'm going to slot this down and in. This is a little complicated getting these down in here, especially with big fat fingers. That's where I use my tweezers. Need to pick up some ceramic tweezers. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to route this through the skeleton frames. Pulling it through until it reaches this point right here. So how that's going to work is you're going to take it, the LED, pull it from underneath, set it down on its flat side. I'm going to use my tweezers to pull that down. And we're going to grab one of our brackets. we're going to do is the bracket over the hole, holding the LED down in place. And we're going to use one of our AM screws here. Into our oil. And down. Our LED is now fixed into place. Nice and flat. Nice and even. Tighten it all the way down so it holds right where it's supposed to be. Noticing that. Excellent. And then we're going to do that one right up top here. And that's going to go into the next PCB slot marked B, which is going to be a little further along, almost directly in the middle. Yeah, the polarity shifts. But I didn't try to push down too hard on that. Polarity shifts in the middle of the board to the other side. Excellent. And that one is going to get fished through here. Routed through the skeleton. Up and through to this post right here. Then it's going to sit over the top. And down. Grab one of our brackets. And get your wires positioned so that they're not in the way. Excellent. And then simply put your bracket down into place. Ah, they say left and right, I see. So there are individual brackets for each side. I see that now. And we're AM screws. And then screw this one all the way down to make sure it holds the LED precisely in place where it's supposed to go. Excellent. Now we're going to go ahead and grab our other side. And we're going to go into our third PCB marked B, or PCB slot marked B. Right through there. Get it plugged in. And then just run it down, and we're going to run it to this lower position right here. So down and in. Pull it through. Down and through. Then, once again, LED sits over the top. A little bit of a tight space down through here, so do be careful. Grab our left side bracket. Set it over the top. Grab an AM. And get it positioned properly. And tighten it down. Very cool. I do like this design for holding the LEDs down, because I imagine that this whole process is going to be a little bit more involved than the top side, because you're able to work from the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go into the final slot, final PCB slot. There we go. Maybe the last one marked B on this row on PCB 2. Excellent. And then that one's going to get wired down and through and route it up through this area, working around the other cable that you just did. Push those down, push this one down, set it, loop it over the top, get it set into its place. Somehow carefully. There we go. and get your bracket put in. And there we are. All 4 of our LEDs are put into place. And we'll go ahead and hold the saucer up a little bit so you can see what that looks like. So, one here, one there, then matching up on the other side. There and there. And that's what those look like. Excellent. That's all taken care of. Went ahead and didn't look at the instructions as I had done a bunch of studying. All right, so that's the last of the saucer section that we're going to see for today. So just a quick little review. We got our first panel that we ever hooked up onto the saucer section locked down and 10 forward put into place. So there we are. Go ahead and get our saucer section set off to the side. Last time we're going to see it for a couple of weeks is next week we're going to be doing the nacelle mod as I mentioned. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to bringing back our engineering section bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab these 2 posts right here. And they are keyed, so you can see possibly down on the bottom. Yeah, there's a little key right down there. Going to put them right here. Lock them into their proper place. See, just like that. And then we're going to secure that in place with a BM screw. So, get a BM screw on here. You can do this somehow smoothly. We're already seeing how to do this a little bit better next time. Okay, so it is keyed, so you want to make sure you're getting it tightened down properly into its proper spot. And I imagine that the key point matters for proper fitment, so I'm going to be very careful with this and make sure it moves. And its key point is good. Okay, excellent. So there's that post. And the key goes forward, just like that. So what I'm going to do for this one, not an FM, but our BM screws. What I'm going to do for this was I'm going to start the screw into its spot. I say. Get the screw ready. It's been a lot of it's been a long recording session on this one today, my friends. This is not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do today. This model does get pretty complicated as we go along. Make sure the key point is still sitting up front, and I'm just watching the screw going in, making sure that that key point sits up front, because it'll only sit all the way down once it's sitting in that spot. Excellent. That's what that looks like. Very cool. Okay. So I'm going to cut away real fast, and I'm going to go ahead and do my little solder job on my PCB. I'll show what that looks like, and I will be right back. All right, so the NoBlink mod is complete, and very simply, just you're bridging 2 little solder points right there at the, what is that? Is it a transistor? I'm not quite sure what that is, but just a small little bridge between the 2. And that's all it takes, but we'll show you that in the how I did that in the coming episodes. So let's go ahead and grab our engineering frame piece here, and I'm glad that it's one solid piece and that we're not trying to do this with multiple pieces on this. It would be kind of ridiculous, wouldn't it, folks? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at it from this angle, and it looks like it is going to fit into place just like so. Plenty of room. Just want to make sure we got plenty of room and we're not obstructing anything with the mod that I just did. Excellent. And we're going to go ahead and secure this into place with 4 FM screws. And just a reminder, use your 3-in-1 oil, and do be careful when securing your PCBs down that you are not tightening them down too hard, and definitely I can tell that the 3-in-1 oil might need to go a little bit heavier on it here. So let's get some more of this out here. It's cold this time of year, so the 3-in-1 oil seems a little shy. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop the top off. There we go. Get a little into our basin down there. I don't want to fight with it, as it can be a bit of a pain. You have to kind of warm these up before you get going, and I did not do that today. A lot of building, and probably should do that for the next couple stages. So let's go ahead and grab another FM screw into our oil. Being careful with the oil, not trying to get it on too much on the PCB. There we go. And it just helps ease the threads in, because this model is not pre-threaded. And I can tell right here that there's a lot of paint in these posts. So it requires a little bit of the 3-in-1 oil. All right, and our last screw for the day, my friends. As our engineering section gets its engineering section computer. At least the first part of it. Because I think this is where the Arduino, that's right, my friends, where the Arduino is going to wind up living. So, there it is. Our PCB is put into place. Everything is all good and go. We are solid. So there it is. It was a long episode of recording for me. Probably not a long episode, not too long of an episode today, because there was just a lot of work that I had to do off screen, and it took me a lot of fiddling and fidgeting and lots of sanding and getting all the parts ready to go. So there it is, my friends. Stages 61 and 62 are complete. We are on to the next half of the build. And I got to say, just getting this little taste of this portion of the model, it is going to be fairly large, as big as two of my palms, and that's saying something, actually. And in the next episode, my friends, we're going to be talking a lot about what's coming up next when it comes to the technology portion of the build as we begin the nacelle mod, or I guess you could say finish the nacelle mod part 2. I don't know, but we're going to be finishing up the electronics, and then in the episode following that, we're going to talk about a little bit about what we're going to be doing with all of the different functions with the Arduino that we're going to be adding and finding a place to mount up in here. So that's what I got for you guys today, and I just want to say thank you. I know there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me build a model or fumble with a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember, my friends, that revenge is a dish best served cold.